This is an engineered Bruce hardwood floor, probably about 20 years old. Going to be replacing a couple of pieces right here in the middle of the floor. Um, then have some water damage, mostly in front of the sink here, up under the toe kick where water has sit on here and got between the boards and delaminated the veneer from the rest of the plank. So it's a band-aids on it, some few nails and some putty and stuff, but it's not working out. So these pieces got to come out of here. Excuse me. Of course, the piece that needs replaced is like 4 feet long. It'd be nice if it was shorter, but regardless, the process is still the same. Just make sure you have some of this flooring on hand of your flooring before you get started. By taking the shoe molding off, being nice to it because I'm going to reuse it. That vent register cover there, pop that off, clean it up. It's kind of gross. And then, yeah, this old short piece got to go. And then the piece behind it's got to go too because I have to actually cut the flooring because it's underneath the cabinets. I have a Dremel Multimax tool here with like a hook blade with some teeth on it. I think that's going to do the least amount of damage up under this toe kick. The floor has to be cut there. There's really no way around it. So using a smaller blade like that, I think is going to be the way to go. I only have to make a few cuts. So I'm going to lean it towards me, away from the toe kick there. I don't want this to score up the toe kick there. So just take your time, hang on to this thing. Don't try to hog it all out at once. I'm probably going to make 3, maybe 4 passes till I'm pretty sure I'm through it. It's probably, I don't know, 7/16 of an inch thick, the flooring is. So just take your time with this part. Well, actually the whole thing. Just take your time. Don't be in a rush. So yeah, a few passes on that. And when I'm pretty sure I'm through all that, I set my circular saw for the flooring depth, just a hair deeper than the floor itself. And then we're going to make some cuts right down the middle of the board that's coming out. Just make sure when you're plunging down that you hang on to your saw. You don't want it to grab and go backwards on you into the adjacent piece. So just take your time, run it down the middle of the board, roughly, give or take. I got a shop vac there to help keep the dust down. If you got a saw with a shop vac attachment on it, it'd be even better probably. But hey, this works. So 2 passes down the middle of it, about, I don't know, 1.5 inches apart, roughly. And then after that, you could take your sharp chisel, and we'll get that middle piece out. You can get that middle piece out so you have a place for the rest of the floor. You're going to work back into that hole that you're making in the middle of the board there. So nice sharp chisel. And just Woody Woodpecker this thing to get started because you don't want to dig a big hole. This is glued down, so I gotta try to find the gap between the wood flooring and the subfloor. So once you find it, you might have to chip chop at it a little bit, and then once you find that gap there, you can get your chisel up under between the glue and the flooring, and hopefully not do as much damage to the subfloor. There, I got under the glue. You'll be able to feel it once you get under it. This would be a lot easier if it was glued to a slab. But glued to the subfloor, it's pulling some of the OSB subfloor with it and stuff. So you don't want to dig too deep on these. And then the sides, use a flat bar, chisel, whatever you got to do, hammer, and work the glue loose. You don't want to yank up on these 2 side pieces because you don't want to damage the adjacent piece. You want to work towards the hole you made in the middle. But when it's glued, it's not going to slide like if it was nailed or stapled. So Once you get it loose to the point where you can grab a hold of it, and you're pretty confident you're not going to, damage the piece next to it, you could pull it out some pretty good chunks there. Same with the other side. This would be the tongue side. That piece came out a little better. Once I got it loose from the glue, I pushed it away from me, back towards the middle there, and it pretty much all came out one piece. So take your time. And then all this glue, you can see that it's got to come off. Take a nice sharp chisel and hammer, and just go over it real good. You want to make sure that the groove on the adjacent piece is nice and clean, because we're going to reuse that groove. The tongue on the other side, you can just leave that. That's fine. But make sure you get all that glue off. I went over this probably 4 times. Shop vac in between, feeling for high spots and whatever, and just taking my time. So this probably took the most time, was getting the glue off and making sure it was clean. And then it can mark up my replacement piece. And then I'm going to take it outside and rip the bottom edge of the groove off wherever there's a groove. Like I need the groove cut off on the end grain there too. So if you got a table saw, great. If you don't, you could probably use a razor knife to do that. Take a little bit longer, but here I got my saw set, super shallow. Just want to get that bottom side of the groove off on both sides. So just run it through the saw, take the edge off, and then you can adjust the fence and take the edge off the bottom edge off the end grain side. And then you can take a look at it here. You can see where I just took off the bottom of the groove. And what we're going to do is put the tongue in and then just lay the groove on top of the adjacent pieces. So, and we're going to glue the crap out of it. So you can see where I did that. Here I dry fit it. It took me, I don't know, once or twice. I had to dry fit it. I had a couple boogers I had to take off. Make sure it's sitting down in there good. And then you can pull it out and glue it up. I'm gluing the tongue there of the adjacent piece, and then I'll do that spot on the left as you're looking at it on that tongue too. Get some glue, and then glue on the bottom, and then glue on the tongue of the your patch piece there. Don't skimp on the glue. Just gob it on there. More is better. So. We can clean up any ooze out later after we get it in there. So after you get all your glue on there, just work your piece in where it goes and make sure it's where you want it as far as left to right. And then just make sure that it's down all the way. So I just took my hammer and my hand, actually the butt of my hammer. You don't want to hit it with the face of your hammer, but just make sure it's seated down there good. And then you could take a wet paper towel or a wet rag or something and get some of the ooze out of the glue. Get that cleaned off before it dries. And then I'm going to put a couple of trim nails in this thing to hold it. And I'm aiming for the dark part of the grain of the wood. You're not going to see it as much after I countersink and putty those holes. So make sure you stay back away from the edge as much as possible. That's just going to help hold that till the glue sets up and it won't pop up on you. So I got 2 on the end and then 2 across the tongue side. The groove side towards me, we obviously got the tongue in there, so we didn't need to do that. I'm going to countersink those holes with a punch. Just be careful. You don't want to do a whole lot of damage here, but like I said, I aimed for the dark part of the grain. So when I put my putty in there, you're not going to see it. There, I got that part done, and I got probably 4 nails, 2 on the top edge and 2 on this butt side, and I'm pretty close zoomed in there and you can barely see it. So that actually works out nice. So there's 1, there's 2. And then we just got to work on getting our other little piece out of there. The shoe molding, if you need to get these wire nails out, I use these close nippers. I'm not sure the technical term for them. I can find it. You can look in the description there. These are great. You just grip it and rock it side to side and then pull the nail right through. You can use pliers and stuff, but man, these things are great. You just grab it and rock it and pulls right through. And then that way you're not doing damage to the nice face side there. So got my patches in, all the glue cleaned off, shoe molding back on, got the register cleaned up. Looks brand new. I mean, 20-year-old floors, looks fantastic. Still. So, yeah, if you gotta, get your flooring out of there, I hope this helps you out. Good luck.